Hi everybody, welcome back to my LinkedIn Lives. I'm Jasmine Navarro, Certified Wellbeing Expert, working with educational institutions and companies, helping them support their family wellbeing challenges. And as you know, every week I interview different experts who make a difference. And today I'm very excited to be interviewing Claire. Hi Claire, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Jasmine. I've been so looking forward to being on one of these LinkedIn Lives with you. Everyone's talking about them, so I'm glad to be here today.
No, thank you so much. I've wanted to have you as my guest for so long as well. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
I can. So I work at Standard Chartered Bank. I am the global wellbeing lead. Lucky for me, I'm based here in Dubai in the UAE, but I do globally support wellbeing across the entire bank, which is great when you're kind of in the middle of the world. You get to deal with both East and West from time zones, which is fantastic, and I love my job.
Amazing. Oh, wow. Amazing. So many things there. And it sounds like a huge responsibility, actually, from what you've just said. That sounds like you have a big job. So you chose this title for today, How Flexible Hybrid Working Can Support Your Wellbeing. And by the way, I've had a lot of comments and questions about this already. So can you tell us a bit more about why you chose this topic and what it means for you?
I think one of the reasons I chose this subject for today was because it's been in the press a lot. I'm on LinkedIn quite a lot, and I do follow quite a lot of companies who are not based, not companies, but colleagues and people who are not based in the UAE, especially the UK and the US, where people are being asked and demanded to go back into the office 5 days a week. Companies are just not being flexible with their working parents or other responsibilities that people have. And I thought it was really a great opportunity for me to come in today to be able to talk about this from a well-being perspective, but also just to see, and it was great if any questions that come in, I'd be happy to answer them from a corporate perspective, just how people feel, because I think I don't understand why companies wouldn't want to support people in their well-being and to be able to live in a flexible hybrid work-life balance.
No, exactly. I think you're right. I think it's so important, and it's kind of like just keeping up with the modern internet age. I mean, how we're all living now. It's kind of like, let's keep up with the times. I do actually have a question already from Deepika. Hi, Deepika. How are you doing? She says, have you seen any unexpected benefits of hybrid working on mental health and work-life balance?
Well, yeah. I mean, I recently spoke to our head of Future Workplace Now, and she was telling me so at Standard Chartered, we have seen the results of this. Our share prices are higher than they've ever been. So if we offer flexible hybrid working to everybody that works at the bank, despite the people, and not the people that work obviously dealing with the markets, but everybody else has access and opportunity to work flexibly. And people are productive at home. People are being able to be hybrid at home. That, you know, we like to call it in wellbeing the work-life blend. It's not work-life balance. It's the whole thing has to blend together, because, and I've said this on a couple of other positions I've been in, and it shows that I've been in, that we are living, work and life lives harmoniously together. We don't stop living when we're at work, and our life doesn't stop, et cetera, and we have to be able to manage it. I mean, I can use an example. At the weekend, I damaged my hip.
Oh no.
Blame my age. Yeah. So I damaged my hip and I was hobbling all over the place and I had to go to the osteo. He was like, we should really be putting you in a wheelchair. You shouldn't be doing it. I'm like, yeah, I'm a mom with 2 young boys. There is no chance I'm going to be sitting in a wheelchair. So he's like, okay, stay at home, try and not do much. And I'm like, great. I know that my company will support me. I can't go into the office, but I'm absolutely more productive working at home for the next 5 days. I'm not traveling to the office. I'm being able to work longer because I'm not having to log off as early just to get home to, as we all know, the Dubai traffic. So it's been absolutely opportunity for me. Also, it's great because I've been able to pick up my boys from school on one of the days because our nanny then called in sick. Life throws lemons at you all the time, and it's kind of like, how can you manage it? And we are lucky because we have the opportunity that we can work where I'll stay a bit later because I had to pop out and do that, and hopefully other people will see that these are the opportunities that people can pick up their children or take them to work, or Should it be
Yes.
something else like caring for an elderly parents, or just looking after your own mental health or your own physical health, going to the dentist, going to an
Yes.
osteopath to go and get your hip realigned, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
I think these are the things. Life is just up and
Yes.
down, and it's we often talk about mental health is not linear. It does go up and down, and that's the same with looking after people and supporting them. And I think what people and companies need to realize that if companies or if their employees are feeling like they are being supported, that they're trusted to do that work wherever they may be, then they will actually thrive as people. They will be more productive because they feel valued by that company, that they'll put in potentially that extra work or the extra hour because they took an extra hour off to go and do something from a
Definitely.
personal basis.
100%. And also, I think when you don't have to, like, imagine you didn't have that flexibility with your position, then you would have been maybe worrying about your hip.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're spending all that time worrying, your energy. Whereas actually, because you don't have to worry about that now, you can use that to be productive at work, at home.
Absolutely.
So,
And my physical health then would have been jeopardized because I wouldn't have been able to take the time out to go to a doctor to go and get it checked out. So all these things add up, and you're just thinking all physical, mental, social, and financial health all comes together, and all of these actually do fit under this banner. And so it's kind of like working from home, you need to make it a good place to work so you can thrive. I'm not expecting, obviously companies are worried, I think, how people are working at home. They don't want people sitting on the couch. That's obviously no good for your back, your spine. Make sure you have a desk, make sure you've got a proper supported chair. All these things go hand in hand in order to make sure that you can thrive while working from home.
No, definitely makes sense. And when you say like flexible hybrid working, so how does that look where you work, Standard Chartered Bank? Like, is that just so for example, if I think, okay, I'm not feeling too good today, okay, I just phone up and I don't have to come in. Like, what are the sort of boundaries with that? How does it?
So yeah, no, great question. So I think all of us had to sign a contract where we changed the days and of the week that we wanted to work from home, and that was completely flexible. So most people have signed up to work 3 days from the office and 2 days from home. And people, as you would expect, people are working. Most people work Mondays and Fridays from home, and then they go into the office for the core week, the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But you can also choose kind of like, if you want to start earlier, you can, and you can so for example, people in the UAE, we work with a lot of countries around the world, and you may be looking after the Asia market. Then ideally you want to log in early. And I know a colleague who sits opposite me, he logs in and he speaks to Singapore like 5 a.m. UAE time, which means he's going to log off earlier because he doesn't need to be at work as well then till 6-7 o'clock at night. That's just not sustainable. That's one of our core well-being points, that we want people to be sustainably high performing and not burning out because they're working all hours under the sun. So it's being able to have that hybrid, that you can choose which hours work for you. But it's also, like I was saying, I would have a conversation with my boss, and I would just say to her, I need to step out, I need to go and do something. She knows and she can trust me that I'm going to come back on, I'm going to do my work, I'm going to finish what I need to today. I know, and that's the kind of relationship everybody should be having with their line manager. They should be having that supportive relationship where people know that they can be trusted, valued, seen, knowing that they're having a life and that they can come back and then they can actually do the work that they need to do.
No, I totally agree with everything you're saying. How did you get to that point with your company? Because I guess to have those kinds of relationships with your staff and employees, I guess it doesn't happen overnight, does it? Like how do you have that solid foundation?
No.
Yeah,
That's very true. I mean, actually, we've offered flexible working for a very long time, way before COVID. It's
really?
always been, we've actually always been it. It's just not something that was, I guess, pushed or talked about a lot. It was, I mean, I reflected back, I was thinking about this a couple of mornings ago. I remember when COVID hit, And I remember
Yeah.
thinking, oh my word, I can't work 5 days from home. I'm like, I'm going to go mad. I'm like, I love going into the office. And, as to obviously, yeah, we didn't really have much choice. And as
Yeah.
time went on, I actually quite enjoyed going, working from home as time went on. And then obviously we were all having that little bit of like, oh, going back to the office, that's a little bit strange. And gradually people, and now we have this whole flexible, but once COVID was over and everybody came back into the office, conversations we're having, and we created a team who looked and dived into all the data from all of what we were doing. They are measuring productivity, they're
Okay.
measuring how people are working, and they are proving that it is actually good for colleagues, but also for the bank, that we are able to offer this. And our global head of strategy and talent, she was recently on being interviewed by a news station, and she was talking about it as well. And she was just saying she doesn't want to know. She's not that strict about where that you got to be in the office these days and where you got to be at home these days. She just wants to know, like, kind of, when are you working, where are you working, how are you going to be working, and like, what are you going to be doing. Kind of, these are the four features that she was, and I was like, this is exactly it. Even we're looking at expanding the way that we work, and I think that's exactly how it should be saying. And she's coming on going, I trust people to do their job. Just tell me where you're at. People, and I think that's the key to most of this, Jasmine, is it's communication.
Yeah.
Communicate with your people leader, your manager, your boss, whoever it is that you work for. Just let them know where you're going to be working from, so that they're aware that they're not going to expect you to come in. And then what we've done at the bank, and our corporate real estate team, and have done a fantastic job. They've created collaboration areas in the office. So we end up coming in, and we have, like, if there's going to be team events or team work that we need, project work that people need to be working on, then you come in and you work in these collaboration spaces, so that there's actually an area for everybody to work together, collaborate, and that way you're having productive time when you're actually together and when you're coming into the office.
Wow. Oh, it sounds brilliant. It sounds brilliant, because I know not all companies have this, do they?
No, I mean, it's very difficult for me to say. I've worked at Standard Chartered over 10 years, so I've got this is all I've really known. But no, I mean, we get people like yourselves, Jasmine, that come in and do some work with us at the bank, and they come in, they're like, oh, isn't it great having an office? Look at this office, it's amazing. And I'm like, yeah, we're proud of the office that we work in, and we're really glad that we've got these areas, and we are lucky that we've got the opportunity to be able to do both by having really great offices to work in, but also then obviously being able to work from home as well.
No, definitely. We've got another question from Jacob. Hi, Jacob. How are you doing? He says, what are the most common wellbeing challenges employees face in a hybrid work environment, and how do you address them?
Yeah, I would say the biggest challenges are people not switching off, logging on possibly. So you have people, and you have got people logging in really, really early, and then people staying way too late into the night, as it starts going dark, because they don't actually have anywhere to go because they're already home. So it's kind of like, so that is a challenge, especially if you've got a lot on. You need to remember to take breaks. Make sure that you do actually, get your calendar, block in times where you go for a walk around the block, or you go for a run at the park, or, go to the gym if you want to. Let's build those times in, because if you're not driving to work or driving home from work, you can build this time in to look after your health. So I think, and it's really important that people do a start time and an end time. Make sure you're not burning the candle really at both ends from, start to finish. Make sure that you're eating properly. Often people say, oh, it's better because I can eat at home, and it's, obviously that food is already, but sometimes it's like being able to physically take that break, and walk to the house, or walk downstairs to the kitchen, or whatever it is. It's I think all these little things that you need to be super careful that you just don't burn yourself out by not being able to be, or not fixing those times into your diary to be looking after yourself.
It's funny, isn't it? Because you think some employers maybe don't want their staff to work at home because they think they're not going to work enough. But actually, like you said, it's kind of the opposite, isn't it? It's harder for us to discipline ourselves to have the breaks.
Yep.
It's very interesting. Yeah.
It very is, and I'm pretty sure that the data is there that people tend to. I mean, I was talking to a friend of mine in the office the other day, and she was like, "Oh, I didn't come into work yesterday. I worked from home because I needed to work on this project, and I didn't finish until like 9 o'clock." And I'm like, "That's crazy." Because if she'd come to the office, sorry, and then had to drive home, she would have at least had that break to have done that. So there are these, and this is why we offer hybrid. It's important for people, or flexible working, that people can come in and come out of the office. So you are getting those days where you are, and actually driving to the office sometimes it's quite a good quiet time. You're in the car, no one's screaming around you. You're listening to the radio, you're listening to music or whatever it is. You've got that like 30-minute journey in, and however long it takes you to get home in the evening, depending on how far away you live from the office. But these are the things. It's kind of like, actually sometimes those are good things to have as well.
No, definitely. And how do you look after your well-being, and how has your position impacted you and your well-being?
So the well-being sits in the employee advocacy department here at the bank, and so we're lucky because the Future Workplace Now team actually sits under also the umbrella of employee advocacy. So we work together quite a lot. And I would say I work very well. I do work hybridly and I do work flexibly. I do tend to be in the office 3 times a week. On a usual week, I'm usually in the office on a Wednesday. And I like it. And I would say for my mental health, it's good for me to do both. And I would say that's probably the same for most people. I am a people person. I do like to go into the office. I do like the people that sit around me at work. And so they do inspire me, and which is good. But then days where I need to be in the office, days when I need to be at home, I need to be building presentations, I need to be doing articles, whatever it might be, those days sometimes it's great just to be at home. And I do then, get up, do a walk around the house, go and make my lunch, do fit in these break times, because otherwise it does just get carried away and you end up sitting here. So I do make sure that I do fit time in to be able to have that break, to look after myself.
No, definitely. And what advice would you give to other companies who don't have this, well-being implemented with their teams?
Yeah, I think, they should do some research and find out from other companies how it's working. I think would be a really good way to do it. See which companies are making it work for them, and maybe ask staff. I think often, we've done some surveys and some group chats with teams to go find out, how can you work more sustainably, and maybe it doesn't work for your company because you need to all be in, but maybe you can offer it more flexibly. And so, or a more hybrid model where you've got some people who, for example, if people want to drop their children off at work and there's other people who don't have children, then maybe negotiate with them. So some of them come in early. So some of them do the earlier shift and they leave at 5. And then the people that drop their kids off, then they leave at 6, whatever it may be. Or if somebody needs to travel, and then you've got people coming in and out. So I think it's making sure that if you want, because I think that's one of the other concerns is people are not having, they want people to always be in the office and not being around. But if that's the case, then talk to the teams, find out who wants to be on what days, and make sure that they're in the days, that you want to be in. If you're the boss and you come in a couple of days a week and you want everybody to be in, then let everybody know that. Again, coming down to communication. Communication is fundamental. Let people know what you expect. And I think that would really help. But I don't know where people are listening to from today, but even the UAE government is encouraging people to work from home, and I know they're doing it, a lot of it because it's traffic and trying to, alleviate the traffic on the roads. But they've also seen that people can be productive working from home. They're offering it even in some of the government departments that's what they're doing. So I think, have a look in the press and see what's happening out there, that it can offer much more opportunities for your staff to be able to, again, like I said, have that work-life blend and feel supported when they're at work. And that makes them feel, they would feel like a more loyal and valued employee if that was being offered to them, that they could, work more flexibly.
Oh, totally. Totally agree with everything you're saying. We have another question from Simon. Hi, Simon. How are you doing? And he says, what role do leaders and managers play in ensuring hybrid work supports employee well-being, and how can they better be equipped to do so?
Yeah, great question. I think one of the things we're doing at the bank, it's having empathetic leadership, I think is super important. If anybody out there follows Mimi Nicklin, she will talk about it. And she's a great person to follow, actually. If you're not following her, follow her, because she can give you loads and loads of tips and tricks around this. But it's really important that and like I said to you before, it's talking to your colleagues, it's getting together in huddles, having conversations with people, seeing how they are. If you get to know, if you're empathetic as a leader, you actually get to know so much more about your team, because they will feel like you want to actually hear from them. They will tell you the truth, they will tell you how they feel, and then you'll get to understand what challenges they're facing and what they're looking at. So then you can go, okay, this would work. Sandra needs to work more flexibly. I will let her on a Monday and Tuesday work from home because she needs to deal with whatever it may be. I think those are the key. It's having, the art of listening is just so vitally important, and they're all linked together. Communication, listening. Remember that you've got 2 ears to hear what your colleagues are saying, and being able to, really hear. Don't listen to answer back. You want to just listen to understand what people are telling you, so that they can actually feel valued, and then you can reply in a way that they actually feel that they are feeling like they're in a psychologically safe environment with you.
Yeah.
And then you would also then go on to feel that you actually want to be able to support this person by offering them a flexibly hybrid workplace and thriving workplace.
It's so important as well, isn't it? And I guess it's not just about having, the best well-being programs implemented in your office. It's like you said, because some companies might not have the budget for all of that as well.
Yeah.
But it's not just about that, is it? It's like you said, it's just about the small things: listening, showing empathy, communicating. I mean, those 3 skills could change the whole office environment, couldn't they? I mean, it's
Yeah,
not just
absolutely. Yeah, just
so,
imagine, if everybody went around feeling valued, feeling seen, feeling heard, you're like thinking, wow, I'm like thinking, oh, people can hear me now here. It's like all these kind of things. But no, we're at Standard Chartered, we actually offer some resources on our website. If you look at Wellbeing at Standard Chartered, there are some resources on there. If anybody, obviously not great big companies not all big companies have a wellbeing support, and we are very lucky that we do at Standard Chartered. But there are some resources on there if you want any guidance or support. Feel free. It's all free assets available to be downloaded, and it is being constantly refreshed. So keep an eye on that page, and people can have a look at that. And there is information, actually, if you look up flexible working at Standard Chartered, you can find out exactly how we went about that. There are articles out there that how we did it, and obviously if you follow some of our senior leaders, they often talk about it as well. So it's definitely what I'd recommend that you do. But yeah.
No, thanks, Claire. And maybe if you could if you don't mind, put in those links actually on the post after the live, or whenever you can.
Sure.
People can just click on the links and have a look, because I think it's really, really useful, especially if they work in a company that doesn't have, any. No, brilliant. Thank you so much. And we have another question. Hi, Tom. How are you doing? Instagram seems to be a lot of people watching on Instagram. If you could design the ideal hybrid work model to maximize well-being, what key elements would you include? Thanks, Tom.
Yeah. I don't know if I know the answer to that.
Okay.
I have it. So, but I think
like what you've said, actually.
I guess,
the things you've said.
Yeah, I think probably most of it is covered. But I think I don't think it's good for anybody's well-being, and even people who are sole entrepreneurs work in community workplaces like WeWork and work hub and what are these? And so I don't think
Yeah.
working from home solely 5 days a week is actually good for anybody's mental health.
No,
So I
no.
think, we all need social interaction. Humans are social beings.
Yes.
And actually it can make you very sad if you were to work from home every day,
Oh, yeah.
you work without getting out.
Yes.
So I think, you have to have a good balance, I think. And we do offer the opportunity. People want to work more days from home, they can, but we do recommend that people do look at coming in 1 or 2, connecting with colleagues in the office, having those water cooler moments and talking about things.
Yeah.
Should it be, something on, Love in Dubai, or, whatever it may be, or something,
Yeah.
that happened on TV.
So
So people
important.
get together and talk about, these social interactions with
Yeah.
actually people, because the worst case is it's like, I saw this great meme yesterday, feeling totally and utterly overwhelmed. You sat back, you opened your phone, and the next 4 to 5 hours you spent scrolling Instagram because you just couldn't deal with work. And I was like, it did make me laugh, because I thought, but these are people you don't know. I mean, admittedly in the UAE it's a little easier because a lot of these people we do actually meet, but
Oh,
a
that's
lot of the
true.
times there's people on there that we don't know. You go on TikTok, you don't know those people. So it's kind of like, at least, and actually you've got to be so careful about not losing those communication skills, because you just spend the whole day like typing and doing presentations and not talking to anybody. And then you forget like how to actually talk to people. I remember people after COVID feeling
Yeah.
like, oh, I can't remember what it's like to talk to people in the office. Like, because the only people you'd seen was like your husband or your child. It's kind of like suddenly you need to go back into the office and talking to, like, obviously stakeholders and people, important people. Obviously your husband is important, but the people that you work with. And so it's so I do remember there was that fear from a lot of people, like going back in.
Yeah, because
So
it's
I
just
think
felt so
keeping it,
unknown.
yeah, exactly. So I think just keeping it, keep popping in, making sure that you go in, see people, and then going out for a few days. So like I said on an out of office message recently, let people miss you. It's quite a good feeling. You feel like you're valued. They're like, oh, you miss me, thanks.
Yeah, especially like if you go on holiday and you come back, it's like, oh,
Exactly.
so true, actually. And actually, that is a point that we haven't really touched on. And I know we're running out of time, but like loneliness, I think,
Oh,
yeah, working too much, or even you could be lonely in the office, I guess. But especially if you live alone and you're working from home
yeah,
and you just spend the whole, I mean, it's happened to me. I spent the whole day and it's like, I haven't actually spoken to a person in real form. Like, because it's not the
yeah,
same, is it? I mean, it is something, but it's completely different. Like you said, if you're actually with somebody in real life, it's a whole
yeah,
another feeling. I think you've got the energy. It's just different, isn't it? And we need it. We need
yeah.
that connection.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that is so good for people's well-being. It's having that, like you said,
Yeah.
having that connection with people, having that conversation. And we, like we said, you don't have to talk about anything important. It's just having a conversation with somebody, using volume and language with them, rather than just on a Teams call, face to face,
Yeah.
which is super important. But yeah, loneliness is at an all-time high. There was almost like the loneliness pandemic, and I think a couple of people have been writing a few articles on it recently, that I saw, and it is, it's making sure that when people are in the office, that they are feeling connected, that there is a community of people that they
Yeah.
can join, if it's the lunch crew or the book crew or the choir club. I think
Brilliant.
so Heather Broderick does an amazing session on, refinding, going back to your youth, and what are the things that really invigorated you when you were a kid. It's kind of like how much of that's changed. And actually
Yeah.
you probably would enjoy joining the baseball club or the dance club or the whatever. Why
Totally.
not create that in your organization now? I think these are always good things to bring in and these are the things that make people buzz. People get happy and excited by doing these things, and that again makes them more productive because they're thriving in their workplace by doing things that are non-work related alongside things that are work related.
Totally. No, totally. No, thank you so much, Claire. It's been really, really interesting talking to you. We are running out of time, but is there anything you want to tell us before we go? Do you have, I mean, you have mentioned a lot of tips and tricks. Is there anything else you want to say that you would say maybe to companies or just to people in general about, hybrid working, flexibility, well-being?
No, I mean, all I would say is, and I was talking to somebody else about this particular earlier, but it's a different matter. But if you're really passionate that you believe that this would work for your company, build the business case, put it in. It's kind of like the research is out there. It's not, I don't think it would be too hard to put together. And I think it could do. If most companies now, nobody has a solid desktop. Everyone's got a laptop. They can work from anywhere, kind of thing. So I think, if that's something that you're really passionate about and you'd like it to change, why not, show them that you can do it and try. Yeah. The worst thing they can say is no, but at least you know that you gave it your all.
Oh, I love that. That's such a good piece of advice for anything actually in life. Just try. Just try. No, thank you so much, Claire. Thank you so much for everybody who's joined us. If you have any questions or comments, you can message Claire directly or leave a message on the post. That's absolutely fine. And Claire will put all of those links that you mentioned on the post. So if anybody wants to look at that information regards wellbeing, please do. Thank you so much, Claire. It's an absolute pleasure. Really enjoyed our conversation. And thank you, everybody. And I will see you next week.
Thank you.